The ruins of Kelthera Station trembled as plasma fire scorched the air. Lieutenant Mara Kell pressed her back against the crumbling wall, her rifle hot in her hands. 3 predator cubs huddled behind her, their chitinous plates still soft with youth, their mandibles clicking in terror. She shouldn't be here. The evacuation shuttle had left 20 minutes ago. But when she'd heard the desperate chirps echoing through the abandoned corridors, something ancient and immovable had locked into place inside her chest. The eldest cub, Rock, raised his primary eyes toward her. His species, the Vicari, were apex predators on 17 worlds. They were born with razored claws and venom sacs. They knew no fear, but Rock was barely 3 cycles old, and right now he was terrified. "Stay down," Mara growled, her voice low and steady. The universal translator hung from her vest, converting her words into the clicking dialect of the Vicari. "Don't make a sound." The Scareth hunters were closing in. She could hear their heavy footfalls, the hiss of their breathing apparatus, the hungry scrape of blade legs against metal. They were scavengers, opportunists who fed on the chaos of war, and they had caught the scent of easy prey. Mara checked her ammunition counter. 15 rounds, maybe 20 seconds of sustained fire. She'd faced worse odds before, but never with children at her back, never with something so fragile depending on her. The first Scareth rounded the corner, a massive creature of segmented armor and too many limbs. Its compound eyes fixed on the cubs and its maw split open in what might have been a grin. Mara didn't hesitate. She stepped forward, placing herself directly between the monster and the young ones. Her rifle barked once, twice, 3 times. The Scareth stumbled but didn't fall. Behind it, 2 more emerged from the smoke. "You want them?" Mara's voice dropped into something primal, something that didn't need translation. She bared her teeth, flat, omnivorous teeth that had no right to be threatening. "You go through me first." She fired again, aiming for joints and sensory organs. 1 Scareth fell. The others scattered, circling like the predators they were. Mara's heart hammered against her ribs, adrenaline sharpening every sense. She could smell the ozone of spent plasma, the copper tang of her own blood from a dozen small wounds. Behind her, she heard Rock's mandibles chatter, a sound of distress among his people. She couldn't look back, couldn't afford the distraction. The Scareth lunged. Mara met it head-on, using her rifle as a club when the ammunition ran dry. She felt chitin crack beneath the stock, felt claws rake across her armor, finding gaps, drawing red lines across her shoulders. Pain flared bright and immediate, but she didn't stop. Couldn't stop, because behind her were 3 children who would die if she fell. She thought of her own daughter, safe on Earth, thousands of light years away. She thought of every child who'd ever hidden behind their parents' legs, every young thing that needed protection in a universe full of teeth and claws. The Scareth knocked her down. Her head cracked against the floor, stars exploding across her vision. The creature loomed over her, blade legs raised for the killing strike. Then Rock was there. The young Vicari cub launched himself at the Scareth with a sound between a roar and a scream. His claws, still soft, still growing, found the creature's eyes. His venom sacs, barely developed, sprayed whatever they could produce. It wasn't enough to kill, but it was enough to hurt, enough to distract. Mara rolled, grabbed a piece of fallen debris and drove it upward with every ounce of strength she had left. The Scareth's screech cut off abruptly as the improvised weapon found something vital. Silence fell, broken only by heavy breathing and the distant rumble of artillery. Mara pulled herself to her feet, swaying. Rock stood before her, his small body trembling. His mandibles still spread in a threat display that would have been adorable if it weren't so deadly serious. "You were supposed to stay down," Mara said, but there was no anger in her voice. Only exhaustion and something that might have been pride. Rock's translator clicked. "You protected us. You are not prey." "No," Mara agreed, checking the other 2 cubs for injuries. They were shaken but unharmed. "I'm not." "Your kind is weak," Rock continued, his tone confused. "Soft skin, blunt teeth, no venom, no true claws. You should not survive." Mara looked at him, this child of a warrior race, and smiled through blood-stained lips. "We're not weak. We're just dangerous in different ways." She hoisted the smallest cub onto her back, keeping one hand free for her sidearm. "Come on, we need to reach the secondary hangar before more of them show up." As they moved through the ruined station, Rock stayed close to her side. His people were predators, apex hunters bred by evolution to fear nothing. But today he had learned something new. He had learned that sometimes the most dangerous creature in the galaxy was the one who chose to stand between the hunters and the hunted, the one who looked at overwhelming odds and said, simply no. He had learned what humans called courage, and he had learned that Lieutenant Markel, with her soft skin and blunt teeth, her flat, omnivorous smile and her species' stubborn refusal to surrender, she was not prey. She was something far more terrifying. She was a mother bear who had found cubs in danger. And in that moment, with plasma burns on her armor and fury in her eyes, she had taught the predator cubs what it meant to truly bare one's teeth at the darkness. The rescue ship found them 3 hours later, huddled in an abandoned supply room. Mara was barely conscious, her body finally giving in to exhaustion and blood loss, but the 3 cubs were alive, clustered around her like she was the most natural shelter in the universe. Rock refused to leave her side, even when the medics tried to separate them. His mandibles clicked a single phrase over and over that the translator struggled to render in human terms. Finally, it settled on, "She is Pack. She is fierce. She is ours." And Mara, drifting in and out of consciousness, smiled. Because in a galaxy full of natural-born predators and creatures engineered for violence, humanity had brought something unexpected to the stars, not bigger claws or stronger venom, but the absolute, unshakable conviction that some things, like children, like innocence, like the future, were worth protecting at any cost, even if it meant snarling back at monsters, especially then.